So then after Shyamala leaves, then one Saki comes from Nandagaon, sent by Dhanishta, with news of Krishna's whereabouts. What's Krishna doing now? The gopis are always thinking, what is Krishna doing? So then she describes the scene of Krishna's early morning pastimes to Radhika and the Sakis. And Tulsi Manjari is there listening. So it's described that, Gurudev describes very sweetly that now Jashoda wants to wake Krishna. Now the sun is rising, the land is becoming bright. All the Sakas are waiting outside Nanda Bhavan, thousands and thousands of Sakas. All the cows are mooing and the calves are mooing, waiting, when will Krishna come? When will Krishna come? All the birds, the peacocks, everyone is assembled to see Krishna. Everyone is very eager for, like we see in some temples, like in Jagannath Puri. When Jagannath's Mangalarti starts, he wakes later usually. And everyone is so eagerly waiting for his darshan. And then darshan comes, everyone becomes overjoyed. So everyone outside has assembled around Nanda Bhavan waiting for Krishna darshan. And yet Krishna is sleeping. So some temples, Krishna sleeps till very late, like Banki Bihari. Doesn't have Mangalarti till like 9 a.m., 8, 9 a.m. Why? Because he came back late at night, he did Ras Leela. He's working so hard in the daytime with the Sakas, nighttime with the Sakis. Ras Leela, after with Radhika, then he leaves the Kunj. So we have Mangalarti very early because we are in Radhika's party, the Palyadasi mood. So for us, Mangalarti is when Radha Krishna wake in the Kunj, before going back to their homes. This is before dawn, before dawn. Very early, when it's still dark outside. Nishanta means the end of night. So that's when we do Mangalarti. But other places, if they're not in this Palyadasi mood, they may do Mangalarti later, because this is when Krishna wakes up in his home. So he's returned and he's still sleeping and the sun has come up. Everyone's saying, why is Krishna still sleeping? There's one pastime, this on the Prikrama Marg, Jaru Mandal. There's one place around that area where every day a lady was grinding wheat. And she would grind wheat on the mortar and the grinding stone in the early morning. And so one day a little boy came, Gopal. She saw him like an ordinary boy, cowherd boy, very beautiful, very attractive. He said, oh mother, why are you making such much noise in the early morning? It's very loud. Why are you making so much noise? I'm trying to sleep. I'm very busy all day and nighttime I'm also playing. And yet in the early morning you're making so much noise and waking me up. She says, what can I do? I have to do this to make enough money to live. And so every day he would come and bug her and say, stop, stop, stop. And she wouldn't stop. So finally he said, look, you don't know me, but I'm a very famous person. I'm actually quite famous. She said, who are you famous? You're just a little boy. He said, I'm going to put my footprint on your grinding mortar. And then you won't have to make any noise by grinding. Everyone will come and see that footprint and give you rice and dal and grains and ghee and donations, everything. So she was like, who is this boy? And this is Krishna. So he put his footprint there. And then he revealed himself to be Krishna, and she became overwhelmed with bliss. And then she would only do bhajan in that place. Thousands and thousands of people would come for darshan of Krishna's footprint and would maintain her in that way. So why was Krishna coming in the early morning? He's just saying, look, I'm trying to sleep now. Don't make so much noise. So Krishna, when he comes back from the Kunj, he likes to sleep for some time. So everyone's waiting for Krishna's darshan, and yet he's sleeping. So then Jashoda enters very quietly into the room. Prabhuji describes this very sweetly as well. She enters very quietly. She doesn't want to disturb her Lala. So she sees Krishna sleeping in his bed, very deeply breathing, very peacefully. And she thinks, I don't want to wake up Krishna. So she makes sure all the windows are nicely covered so no sun is entering. And she quietly comes closer and gives Krishna some makkan mishri in his mouth. Sugar, because with makkan and sugar, it sits in your mouth and it will melt. And so the sugar, the rust of the sugar with the butter, goes into the throat and is very sweet and tasty, and also helps open up the throat in the early morning so one won't have any like scratchy throat. So then Krishna kind of like stretches a little bit and sucks this and smiles very happily. And then Jashoda, with a damp cloth, she will wipe his forehead. Still Krishna is resting. So then once Trivikram Maharaj asked Gurudev and Kartik that if the gopis are superior in their Madhurya Ras to the Vatsalya Ras, then there are some times in the day when only the mothers are serving Krishna. Like in this case, only Mother Yashoda is able to serve. The gopis are not there serving. But then Gurudev said, no, you don't know. who made this butter? Mother Yashoda is waiting. Radhika quickly sends in the early morning. They have some clay pots. And inside the clay pot, they have very cold, like ice water. And then inside that, they have another pot. And inside that pot, they have butter and mishri. And inside, when they make the butter, how do they make it? First, they boil the milk with spices like cardamom, nutmeg, and nice different spices, different days. Little bit of camphor. Then they turn to yogurt. Then they churn the yogurt. Then they get the butter. So this butter is very tasty. And then, so the gopis are serving, even in Vatsalya Ras they're serving. And also, Radhika, within Madhurya Ras, all rasas are present. And ultimately, all the rasas are coming from Radhika's heart and her desire to serve. She is called the Prem Surya, the sun of love. And so when the sun of love rises in Vrindavan, the rays of her love permeate throughout the whole land and inspire within the hearts of the Brijabasis the desire to serve Krishna. So ultimately, it's all flowing from the heart of Srimati Radhika. So in this way, Jashoda gives Krishna some makkan mishri and he stretches and opens his eyes. So at that time, some other people have come for Krishna's darshan. Mukara from Java, she left. Radharani wakes earlier because generally the gopis or girls, they work harder. So they wake earlier. Krishna is like, oh, he just gets up and he goes and plays. But the gopis, they wake up early, they have to cook, they have to prepare everything. So Mukara already saw Radhika. Now she's come to Nanda Bhavan and along with two others, Purnamasi and Krishna's Datri. Datri means like his nursemaid, Ambika. So Ambika, Purnamasi, Mukara and Jashoda all enter Krishna's room. After Jashoda gives this makkan, she sees now Krishna is just waking up. Mukara is the close friend of Yashoda's mother. And so when Yashoda was a baby, Mukara would breastfeed her. So Mukara, Radhika's grandma, and Yashoda have a very close friendship also. And Mukara has a mood of a mother towards Yashoda. So she likes to come and see Krishna, who is therefore like her grandson. So they all enter to see Krishna, and Jashoda brings arti tray. Because the mood of love of someone who has love for their child or their friend, they perform arti. Arti gives auspiciousness. So in the morning, oh, that you may have an auspicious day, I will do your arti. Also, arti is, the ghee lamp is to see that you have no scratches, you're healthy, there's no problem, right? Okay? So therefore, they come close and they see Krishna, and then Jashoda begins to do arti and she sees, what is this scratches on Krishna's face? And also on his arms. And then she thinks, what is this? And then she says, she's thinking, Krishna must have been wrestling with the Sakas, and they're so forcefully wrestling. Little young boys like to fight. And when they're fighting, sometimes you take your friend's head and you smear it in the dirt and maybe it gets scratched. Or you're scratching his body. So she thinks, oh, this must be the Sakas. Just at that time, Madhu Mangal enters the room. So Madhu Mangal is Purnamasi's grandson. Like, she is grand aunt. Not directly. So he also came and he also entered. Not all the Sakas, most of the Sakas are waiting outside, but Madhu Mangal enters inside. He's very close. If someone is in that kind of ras, hasya ras, no one can forbid them from any entry anywhere. There's no shyness. Hasya ras means they're always laughing and joking. There's no shyness there. So Madhu Mangal quickly enters. And he sees, oh, Yashoda now is looking at Krishna with some confusion. Looking at the marks on his lips especially. So then Madhu Mangal says, oh, Yashoda, this is done by the Sakis. Krishna is playing and fighting with the Sakis. Then Jashoda is thinking. Now, in Sanskrit, Gurudev says that Saki means gender neutral. It may be boy, may be girl. If you look at the word Saki just means friend. Now, generally we think of Saki as lady, or female, and Saka as male, right? But in Braj, it's not. Saki is, in Sanskrit, is general. So Madhu Mangal is now teasing, saying, oh, Krishna is fighting and playing, wrestling with the Sakis. So now Jashoda is looking at Krishna and looking in this direction. And Krishna, as he hears Madhu Mangal says this, he looks towards Madhu Mangal and he's like, no. Don't say anything. Don't reveal it. And so then they start using sign language. So Krishna's like, no. Because they can't talk. Jashoda's a little distracted now, preparing other things, arti. And Krishna's looking behind his shoulder. No. Madhu Mangal says, I'm going to tell, I'm going to tell. Krishna says, if you don't tell, I'll give you many ladus. Like this, many ladus. And then he's like, but if you do tell, I'm going to beat you very good. All in sign language. If you don't tell, ladus. If you tell, I'll beat you. So then Madhu Mangal smiles and he stays silent. He says, sometimes when we joke, it's fun in the moment, but afterwards it leads to a bad result. So Madhu Mangal thinks, better not spoil my friendship with Krishna. Not that it would be spoiled, but better not tease him too much. Because otherwise also the Sakhis will become mad at me. So in this way, Krishna wakes up. And now all this is being described to Radhika by Dhanishta, the Sakhi sent by Dhanishta. So Radhika is listening with great happiness to this description of how Krishna is waking in Nanda Bhavan. Radhe Radhe everybody. Please subscribe to our channel down there. Hit the bell icon for notifications. And if you already subscribed, share with your friends. Like, comment. That would be awesome. Thanks so much.